Good day, viewers. I'm in the person of Shalom Apiakudi, a level 200 student offering total quality management. In this video, we'll be assessing the effects and courses within the transportation industry using the 10 resources pertaining to total quality management. Before we quick start this video, I would like to open the floor to introduce my fellow NED colleagues. Over to you.
My name is Kofi Apietidazi.
Okay, I'm also in the person of Eugene Asare, a quality assurer.
My name is Edwiji Adai.
All right, you've heard the contributors to this video. You've heard the gentleman, and then let's move on. Now, within the transportation industry, there are a myriad of problems, and then these problems can be pertaining to certain factors. Within the transportation industry, yes. Now, we are going to look at the cause and effect of these problems within the transportation industry using the 10 resources of total quality management. Let's start off with man. Now, man, the causes, we're going to look at how man affects the transportation industry, the causes and effects. Number one of the causes are lack of skilled labor. Within the transportation industry, the lack of skilled personnel or labor within the transportation industry can be attributed to factors such as lack of institutions to train personnel or people to equip them with the knowledge to handle or manage various technologies within the transportation industry. This can affect the transportation industry in ways that we outsource labor from other countries in order to bring profitability or increase production or total quality management within the said transportation and the industry. With outsourcing, what is outsourcing? Outsourcing is basically the hiring of experts or personnel from third-party countries who have adapted knowledge or expertise within a specific field, and whereby these expertise are cost effective. By doing this, we end up paying these third-party these personnel from third-party countries, leading to decreasing the chances for jobs within the transportation industry. I'll be looking at lack of expertise. Lack of expertise is a cause that creates hurdles within the transportation industry. Yes, or is a hindrance to total quality management within the transportation industry. Another way this can affect the transportation industry is causes by new technologies being introduced within the transportation industry. Due to the lack of funds within the transportation industry, Ghana cannot compete with other countries, and then as a result, there is obsolescence in the technology within our transportation industry. Obsolescence meaning outdatedness within the transportation industry. As a result, we don't get updated knowledge to operate certain locomotives or vehicles within said transportation industry. The way this can affect us is whereby the way this can affect the transportation industry is by, we know that there hasn't been any updatedness in the use of vehicles or locomotives within the transportation industry since transportation by vehicles and locomotives or air travel was introduced in Ghana. This is as a result of a myriad of problems also. This is due to the lack of funds to update our technologies within the transportation industry to replace certain screws, to replace turbines, and also the craft shaft, to also update that so as to produce efficiency within the transportation industry. Now, since we've looked at all this, I would be opening the platform to Kofi Apietis. Next, over to you.
Okay, so another aim of the resources of total quality management we look at is in the method. So under the method, we have courses like inefficient logistics and then supply chain management. So under this we have under this course we have an effect like a lack of real-time tracking system, poor route planning. So under the let me take lack of real-time tracking system. So under this, most of the vehicles in this economy, vehicle in this economy does not have GPS on it. So in case they get an accident along the roadside, people find it difficult to allocate them, of which it can lead to the loss of life or anything else. So for us to solve this problem, we have to place GPS on various vehicles and then various vantage points around the roadside in order to locate them easily, in order so that our customers, that's the passengers, can build a trust for us. And then another point that we will look at it is the ineffective traffic management and then planning. So why is it that it is a cause of the method of the, what do you call it? It is a cause. Why is that it's a cause of method of resources? It's a cause because most of the traffic lights and then the routine for the roads and then other stuff are not well planned and then managed. Like let's say traffic lights, for instance, the traffic congestion we are experiencing in Accra, for instance. Like during Mondays, people get late in various workplaces as a result of traffic congestion, because the drivers, for example, they don't obey the rules and regulation regarding the traffic lights. Instead of them to stop when the traffic light is red, they would rather go. Of which maybe a vehicle can come along the different routes or different roadsides to clash. So with this, we have to take a critical look at it. So I would like my colleagues Eugene to continue for where I end.
Okay. Okay. Another point I will also be focusing is on money. So when you talk about money, there are so many causes and effects under money, but I will be focusing on only 2 points. So the first point is limited infrastructure investment under transportation sector. One of the major causes of limited infrastructure is mismanagement of fund. Mismanagement of fund can affect our transportation sector. Poor road network can also affect our transportational sector. So as a quality assurer, I will make sure and put order in place by providing the necessary requirements that can help in the development of limited infrastructure.
So now, you've heard from my colleagues. Now I'll be presenting on machine. And how it affects the transportation industry. Okay. One of the causes pertaining to machine is outdatedness of the technologies within the transportation industry. Due to the obsolescence of technology within the transportation industry, such as the wear and tear of shafts of aircrafts and turbines and other facilities or infrastructures within the transportation industry. It has led to the ineffective production of quality within the transportation industry, which has affected the transportation in a myriad of ways. Some of the effects are due to these hurdles. Mostly, consumers cannot use these infrastructures any longer, and then the cost for repairs due to the prolonged deterioration can affect the budget within the transportation industry. Also, we look further into machine and how it affects the transportation industry. Unavailability of equipment. Now, with this, due to the lack of modernization within the transportation industry, lack of modernization. My point being unavailability of equipment within the transportation industry. Yes, it's basically the lack of equipment or resources to fund the transportation industry in order to make it more efficient in its production of service. Yes, this affects the transportation industry in a way that mostly the transportation industry needs to hire or outsource personnel from other third-party economies to help manage these this unavailability of equipment by re-renting most of their technologies to provide to our consumers within the local economy. So that's all for the machine. I'll be opening the platform to the next person who will be taking over.
Okay, I'll also be looking at what? The materials. Now, before I start, let me explain what materials are. When we say materials, they form the input of what? The production and delivery of what? Services. Now, let's look at the effects and the cost it has on transportation in relation to what? The 10 M's. Now, the first one is what? Availability and quality of what? Availability and quality of what? Construction materials. Now, before a road will be constructed, materials need to be available. Not only materials, but what? Quality materials. Now, getting these quality materials in Ghana is very difficult. So we rely on what? the foreign industry to what get these our materials. And the basic materials that are needed in what construction of quality roads include asphalt, aggregate, and what bitumen. And getting these things from Ghana are very difficult, so we rely on what the foreign industry to get all these material. And by so doing, we what end up what incurring more funds in what getting these materials. And sometimes we are not even able to get access to these materials because of what the high amounts needed for what acquisition of this material. And at the end of the day, we end up what construction roads that are substandard and can't and what outmoded. And this also cause what poor road system, leading to what accidents and leading to accidents which end up what causing what loss of lives and properties. And this also makes what drivers to become very inconvenient due to what the fact that what their cars get what damaged frequently when engaging this what the activity, when engaging what road the transportation activities, because as a driver you what end up what driving on the road, and every time you are going for what maintenance and what service on your what car, you become what fed up, and you will not what be willing to what go more into what the transportation sector. And this also what reduces what this also reduces what individuals what engaging in what the transportation sector. The other aspect I will look at, which are the causes is what the availability of what spare parts. Now, getting spare parts for our cars are very necessary. Now, in Ghana, the transportation sector mainly relies on what taxi trucks and what buses in what running their transportation activities. Now, locally, these spare parts are what very difficult to what get, and at the end of the day, we end up not getting the right spare parts for what our cars. And as a car, you have to, as a car or as a car always needs what maintenance when it's on the road. So imagine when these cars are not getting the required maintenance needed, it ends up what deteriorating. The car ends up deteriorating, and when a car ends up having faults and it's still on the road, it's definitely will lead to what loss of lives and property. And what it also causes what passenger not to be convenient boarding such car. Imagine what a passenger boarding a car that is having a fault. That passenger will not be what safe, or will not be what convenient in the car. And at the end of the day, this also what loses what customers what getting involved in what the transportation industry, and the transportation sector also what end up losing what customers, which are the passengers. This is where I end my talk.